So for every class, we will always start with a 15 minutes guided meditation. I will try to say less, but will provide some meditation for our friends who may not be familiar with, mindfulness and insight meditation. Yes, so it's now 7. We can start, and you can hit the record button.
Recording in progress.
I'd like to ask everybody to mute yourself and find a comfortable position. Good posture is always best for meditation. And I will start with the sound of the bell and will end with the sound of the bell. We can all start with 3 long and deep breaths to invite our mind back to our body right here, right now, in this moment. If you are sitting on the floor, try to feel the contact between your body and the floor, or the chair, or the couch. Which part of your body is touching the floor, the ground, or the chair? Sink in, and as if there is no separation between your body and whatever supports it. While you're doing that, just observe your breathing. Breathing in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I'm aware of my out breath. In, out. While you breathe in, you may notice that your mind is trying to think, or there are so many thoughts occurring in the mind. It's okay. Just gently invite your mind back to your breathing. Breathing in, my breath grows deep. Breathing out, my breath goes slowly. Deep, slow. Again, your mind is wandering with thoughts. Maybe it's about the past or about future. And it's normal. Just gently invite the mind back to the body through the awareness of breathing. Breathing in, I am aware of my body. Breathing out, I relax my body. In, aware of body. Out, relaxing body. Now your mind seems to be a little bit calm, and now you may be aware of some tension in your body. Maybe your back is hurting, your knee, your head, or your neck. So be aware of those different parts of the body. And with your awareness of breathing, send the energy of mindful breathing to different parts. Breathing in, I'm aware of the tension in my body. Breathing out, I release the tensions in my body. In and out. Now your mind and your body is united. It's all in one place. You can use the mindful breathing to continue nurture that union in this sacred space. Breathing in, I'm aware of who I am. Breathing out, I feel joy. In and out. Now you can slowly open your eyes. You can take a long, deep breathe in and out. to appreciate yourself for doing this meditation. It is nurturing and it is joyful. That concludes our meditation. For some practitioner, they would rub your hands and then make it a little bit warm and then put on their eyes and face. You can do that if you'd like. It's really pleasant. It's a way to say that I appreciate my body for, this practice. All good? All right. Welcome to our first gathering. So I'm very happy and thrilled to be here with you all. The date today is March 27th, 2024. So because this is our first gathering, so I have a couple of questions for you to do. I have a way for you to introduce yourself in the chat. So I will, while I'm talking, you can just, type your answer in the chat, whatever you feel comfortable sharing with everybody. So there are 3 parts of this question. Where you're from, how long have you been practicing and learning Buddhism, and what is 1 or 2 things that you want people to know about you, or a fun fact about you, right? Just, whatever you feel comfortable sharing, that would be appreciated. All right, so this kind of gathering reminds me of the gathering when the Buddha taught this sutra. Even though he was with his students in person, because he didn't have Zoom, right? Now we have Zoom, so we here gathering and we are continuing our tradition of learning and teaching. We are continuing an ancient tradition of learning and teaching Buddhism. So this is the first time I teach this sutra in English, and I'd like to invite you to see this one as an experiment together, all right? I would also assume that we are at different stages in our learning and practice Buddhism. However, when we are gathering here, we are students of Buddhism, right? We all are students of Buddhism. So my approach in teaching this sutra is twofold: spiritual and psychological path approaches. In the spiritual approach, we will learn to know what and how to practice. We are not just acquiring knowledge for mere speculation, right? This gathering is not an academic class. In some cases, when people learn Buddhism, they want to acquire more knowledge about Buddhism. The more, the better, right? However, sometimes the more the worse. More knowledge could, become obstacles for spiritual practice. If we don't cultivate specific attitude when we study a sutra, we may just accumulate a bunch of concepts for, mere speculation. In one sutra of the Nikaya is the early tradition, of Buddhism, sometimes it's called Theravada tradition. The Buddha says that learning and practicing the Dharma is like catching a snake. If you catch the tail of the snake, then you will be bitten by the snake. So we have to be really skillful in learning the Dharma. I remember a sutra when some of the Buddha's, monastic disciples, after hearing the sutra about non-self, they committed suicide. And it was sad. They misunderstood the sutra. So Buddhism is something like this. When you practice, you do not stray off the path, right? But if there is a boulder coming at your direction, you have to step out, right? So Buddhism is like that metaphor. And in psychological approach, I'm influenced by Buddhist and Western psychology. So I'm aware that, using this approach can help many people understand their mind holistically. We'll talk more about this psychological approach and spiritual counseling and transformation more as we, progress, right? So those are two approaches for this particular sutra that I'm implementing. As for the mindset from you and from all of us, I'd like to invite you to use our beginner mind to learn and practice Buddhism. Beginner's mind is a practice in Zen Buddhism, and it is always beneficial for us on the path of awakening, right? To me, a beginner's mind is to approach anything with three principles. First, curiosity. Second, openness. And third is forgiveness. So today is a kind of introduction to the way that we approach this sutra, because this sutra is extremely profound and extremely hard to understand. And I'm quite surprised that we have this many people who want to study this sutra. So for the beginner's mind principle, the first one, curiosity. We will have more opportunity to learn new things and be able to unlearn some of the things that we have learned. It is not difficult to learn anything. It will become difficult when you are not willing to unlearn what you have learned. So the learning you already have may become an obstacle for something new that you want to learn. So learning is not hard. Learning this sutra is not hard. But through learning this sutra, how are you going to unlearn some of the things that you have learned? Sounds very interesting, right? I would say come to the class with an adult brain and a child's heart. An adult brain is a brain that fully developed physically and mentally. A child's heart is a heart full of curiosity. We don't need more, scientific knowledge in learning Buddhism. We need more insightful applications of the sutra to our daily life. This class is designed for you to find a treasure in reverse. What do I mean by that? To find a treasure in reverse. I mean, so when you go find a treasure, you would take the most precious items, right? Or the items that you like the most, you know. This glass will show you a treasure, and you have to contribute to that collection something that you like, something that is precious to you, something that you found along the way. So you find the treasure, you don't take anything from that treasure, but you contribute to that collection something that is dear to you. Because ahead of you is a desert, and it is the only safe way to get home. When you cross that desert, if you possess anything precious or worthy, you cannot cross. Because the nature of that desert is to hold back people who possess precious stuff. Every once in a while, people would cheat. They would, ignore the advice and secretly keep precious stuff in their clothes, right? Those people are to be perished in that lonely and harsh desert. Is it fictional? No. The desert is our life. Only adults take what is precious, and children just love the adventure. So that's why we bring the adult's brain and a child's heart to the adventure, not to take anything, because this sutra will cut everything. So we are searching for that diamond, right? The Diamond Sutra, we are searching for that diamond. And we also possess some diamonds ourselves. But two of these diamonds are different, right? The diamond that we search can help us cut our illusion. It can help us cross the desert. But the diamond that we hold dearly is the precious stuff that hold us back in the desert of mere speculation and duality. It is the diamond because it's also very hard, very strong, and difficult to let go. For example, if you say something and you think you're right, you are holding your diamond because you hold dear to that diamond. And if you think you're right, that if someone tried to cut your, reasoning, that is your diamond. That is hard to cut, and you tried your best to protect that diamond. And that diamond is also very strong. And if you don't let that diamond go, then this Diamond Sutra may not be able to help. So there are two types of diamond. If even the view of the notion of self, the notion of who I am, is also one kind of diamond. I know it's a lot, so just keep in mind some of the, a child's heart is to have an adventure, and we'll find something, I promise. Because people say Buddhism is a religion that promises nothing and delivers. So the second part is openness. Open to ask difficult questions about ourselves, and for difficult questions to penetrate our tangled mind. Have you ever wondered, why some small things can trigger you to react like that, Or a more difficult question, why I promise myself not to repeat that behavior again and again, and still find myself, doing that. Or a more intense question, why do I have to suffer like this? you know. These are some example of openness that, you know, allow deep conversations which can potentially transform our lives. If I ask, raise your hand if you ever experience suffering, I guess maybe 99% of people in this Zoom link, you know, gathering would raise their hand. So I will not ask that question because I want you to keep up some of that suffering private. So openness allows deep questions to be asked and maybe answered, right? Because there's a common knowledge that if you want to be free from prison, you have to know that you are in prison, right? They say, you know, if you want to keep someone in prison, make sure that they don't know that they are in prison, right? So we are imprisoned by our kleshas. Klesha means defilements or addictions or wrong perceptions. Those are our prisons. And this sutra will help us cut all of this, you know, prison. So in order to be free, we have to open, right? We have to open to free ourselves. With a beginner's mind, we will explore different doors when we learn this sutra. Doors will be open. And my question for you, are you open to enter? Are you open to go out? That's the question that, you know, for you to answer. The third principle is forgiveness. So there are two types of forgiveness. To me, there are two types. One is to forgive and remember that we forgive. The second is to forgive and forget that we forgive. The first one is to forgive and remember that we forgive. We don't want to be harsh on ourselves. When we practice meditation, for instance, we try to achieve something, you know. Why meditation seems so easy to that person but it's so hard to me, or why I have been practiced for many years but still I don't achieve anything. You know, don't be so harsh on yourself. If we try to achieve something through meditation, to gain some insight from that meditation, but the insight may not come from that practice, we have to forgive ourselves regardless of how terrible our practice is. In that moment of forgiveness, insight will arise. So the second type of forgiveness is to forgive and forget what we forgive. It is to forgive others. So I know that you have family, you have co-workers, right? Those people deserve your forgiveness. Carl Jung say, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Let me repeat that. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. So in the process of studying this sutra, you still have a life to live, right? So something or someone will irritate you, will bother you. And for sure, you know, people will bother you every day. But we will forgive them and see it as an opportunity to learn from ourselves. Ask the question. Sometimes we have bad day, we see everything with irritable eyes, nothing seems to go the way we prefer. Now it is the time to forgive others. It is not the world is, you know, secretly conspiring to go against us. It's an opportunity to, you know, to forgive what we perceive as irritating, and to learn what is inside us that feel irritated and bothered. Maybe some unresolved feelings, childhood memories, and so on. It is an invitation, and it might be difficult. It's not easy to forgive when we think that, the reason that we feel hurt is because of the other person. But it is an invitation. It is another door that we can open and explore. So with the beginner's mindset, we will have plenty of opportunity for learning and growing, right? I ask myself throughout my, educational path, what keep people learning? And I come up with three things. The first is the profundity of the sutra and different layers of the meaning that can change and alters one's life. That's the first thing. The second thing is the commitment of practitioners. And the third one is the community that we build together that can support each other. So three things: the profundity of the sutra, we may be able to explore different layers of that sutra depending on our level of understanding. The second thing is the commitment. Nothing works if you do it one day and then let it go for a month. Like meditation, we don't meditate once a week. We meditate every day. So that is the commitment of successful practitioner. You don't breathe an hour and stop breathing for 10 minutes, 2 hours, right? Similarly, meditation is just like you build your muscle, your mind muscle. Every day we do it regardless of how long. The length doesn't matter. It's the commitment that you sit down and you practice. If you sit for an hour and you irritate for an hour, whole hour, then it doesn't work. But if you sit for 5-10 minutes and you feel so good, it doesn't work either. Don't feel good when you meditate. If you sit and then naturally your mind is calm, your body is relaxed, and you see things a little bit clearer, that is the kind of meditation that I want you to commit to. And the third one is also equally important: the community that we share, we build together that can support. So remember, at the beginning I said that one of the approaches of this learning is psychological approach. I also do some kind of spiritual counseling, and I ask some of our advanced practitioners to also help with that. So if we have that community that we can build and give people a sense of safety and belong, then we can explore that option. We can provide that option in the future. All right. So next is one of the things that I like to share is that my philosophy when I read a sutra, especially Mahayana Sutra, is that reading between the lines, reading where there is no words. Not only we read the words, but also we read where there is no words. What do I mean by that? So Mozart said that the music is not in the notes, but in the silence in between. Right? So when we read a sutra, you read the words, to understand the context, but you try to read where there is no word to understand the meaning behind, and how are you going to apply that meaning in your life, right? So a passage can be read similarly to everyone, but each person should try to read with their own kind of understanding. Read where you can see the meaning deep down, different layers of that passage. That is the ultimate purpose. The Buddha is not a normal person. He is not simple. That's what I can be sure to tell you. He is not simple. He understands human mind like, his hand. So when he says something, I believe there's so much profound meaning in that simple saying. Sometimes yet he say simple thing like, do good, don't do evil, purify your mind. But sometimes, especially Mahayana Sutra, the meaning is profound. So we have to be aware of that when we read the sutra. And our destination is not to, is not a place where we finish the sutra, but our destination here is a new way of seeing. A new way of seeing ourselves, seeing people, and seeing the world after we learn this sutra. And it's a collaboration between me and you when we read the sutra together. Let me ask you one question. When you were small, people would ask, what do you want when you grow up, right? But now the question become, what do you want when you give up? You give up the preconceived knowledge, preconceived notions of who you may think you are, preconceived understanding of what it is that you think you know, what it is that you think you understand. That's a challenge, right? Returning to our unlearning process. It's so hard, like diamond, it's so hard to cut. In this class, I also would like to invite you to have a journal or a notebook to practice, because one of the approach is spiritual approach, and we should practice, not just learning, you should practice. So for this journal, if you can do it every day, it's perfect. If not, then at least on the day of our class, I'd like to invite you, before coming to class, you write from 5 to 10 things that you are grateful for. Don't take things for granted, okay? Don't take a person next to you for granted. Don't take the air for granted. Don't take the house for granted. Don't take anything for granted. So be appreciative of what you have. Be appreciative of what you are provided. Regardless of whatever situation we are in, there's always something that we are grateful for, right? So this practice will go very nice with our practice, meditation practice and reading practice of this sutra. So this is the only homework that you have to do since your bachelor education. So this is the only homework I ask you to do, and I cannot stress it enough. So please do it. 5 or 10 things that you are grateful for, and the reason why are you grateful for, okay? So for example, I'm grateful for my children because something, right? So trying to, you don't even have to try, right? It's easy to be grateful for many things. So do that. I'm grateful for something because something, right? What else? Okay, so gratitude journal, and I trust that you all keep the practice, meditation, journaling every day, or for journaling every week, and in the future, if this class you have a good number of students participating every week, we will have what I call spiritual companion. In Pali or Sanskrit term, it is called Kayana Mitra, spiritual friend, spiritual companion, or virtuous friend or spiritual buddy. What do I mean by that? So that friend is your community. Maybe you don't know them yet, but in the process, we'll know each other more, because in the end we'll have some 15-20 minutes to ask questions and to discuss. So that friend will support you, and you support them on this practice. Maybe text them, hey, do you practice meditation today yet? Or have you anything interesting when you read this passage? Anything that a spiritual friend can support, it is very important. And the Buddha say that spiritual friend is the whole of our spiritual path, right? So with a good spiritual friend, supportive spiritual friend, will progress very steadily and very quickly. Important note: this sutra is very profound, irrational sometimes, and it hurts so much. It hurts to read, even. It hurts our eyes to read, because sometimes it doesn't make any sense. Sometimes it negates many of our commonly beliefs and preconceived notion of who we are. For some people who experienced some difficulties or negative emotions in your childhood, or something may triggers you, feel free to leave the class and send me an email later, so we can know that this is hurtful for you. Because for sure this sutra will cut everything. It cut the self, it cut itself, it cut the words, so don't take it the wrong way. It will help if we move skillfully. It will help you penetrate that layer of triggering, so to explore different tender parts of your emotions, and we can nurture that together. We can transform and nurture that together. Also, Carl Jung say, the shoe that fits one person pinches another. So there is no recipe for living that suits all cases, right? So there's no one size fit all for everybody in this class. And it is okay. We are living and growing. That's why we transforming every day, right? If we don't transform, if life is permanent, how can we grow, right? So we have to shed old things to become something new. And that is also an invitation. Another, I'm saying too much right now already, right? Another important practice or understanding when we read and study this sutra is two truths in Buddhism. So there are two truths. First is conventional truth, and the second is ultimate truth, right? Conventional truth is like, okay, this is the bell, this is a pen, right? Conventional truth, everything has a name, and we also have names and identities. That's conventional for the sake of our communication. This sutra will take us to another level, using a conventional medium, using language, right? So it will take us to the ultimate truth. And ultimate truth for us conventional human beings, sometimes it doesn't make sense, right? But bear with us, bear with me here. We also have something called middle way. Middle way is an easy way, is faster than highway, and is sometimes it's slower than local way. So it's middle way, right? So when you see something that is so difficult to understand, or something that is so look easy, use middle way. Think about, okay, this is faster than highway, but why it's slower than our local way? So that is the middle way. What is it? What is it? What is that middle way? I don't know. You explore. We explore together, right? All right. So final point. What do you gain from this sutra, from this gathering? I'm not sure what will you gain, but I'm sure that you will lose a lot. You lose your old views, you lose your old notion of self, old preconceived ideas of self, and some old hurtful, beliefs. So that's what I can promise you if you really engage the sutra. Many of my friends, some Western friends who usually ask me, what do I get out of this maybe class or this sutra? I say, when we practice, we don't get anything. We will lose many things. So if you agree with this contract, then sign it, and we will continue our collaboration together, right? Final thing, I'd like to say something about some misconceptions about Buddhism. For example, do I have to be a Buddhist to study this sutra? No, you don't have to. You are perfectly fine as who you are to study this sutra. Why are there so many repetition in the text? Because usually in the old tradition they don't have writing. They didn't write yet, so they just have to repeat and repeat again and again. And so they learn by heart. And in order to learn by heart, we have to repeat many times, right? Whatever they heard, they repeat and they repeat and they repeat. That's why so many repetitions in the sutra. Many sutras say same things over and over again. Yes, because it's never, for us it will be boring if we say something over and over again, but it's a good way to get it stick in our mind. It's difficult for us to stick good things in our heart, but bad thing is easily stuck in our heart, in our mind, right? So it's good to have many things that said over and over again. All right, so I'm done with my introduction with this class. Are we ready for the very first passage? And then we'll have some time for the Q&A and discussion.